Three women break down.
Three women break down life as mothers, wives, and boss bitches, all while keeping it together with coffee, duct tape, therapy, smut books, and each other.
Get the kinks out with us.
All right. Hello and welcome to Kinks Out. We have a special guest joining us today. Our first ever returning guest too, which is really exciting that you liked us enough to do this again. Welcome back to Katie Van Brunt. If you don't know Katie, she is the author of For the Plot, and her second novel, For the Show, it just came out March 1st, is For the Show. Thank you for coming back to talk to us.
I'm so excited to be here. I can't believe I'm like the first returning guest. That's cool.
It is cool.
Yeah, we're so excited
we're like,
about that.
Somebody tolerated us enough to like not only come back and talk to us, but like we talk a lot outside, like on on socials and stuff with you too. So it's nice, like you're our friend and you wanted to do this again with us. So thank you.
Of course, anytime.
So before we get into For the Show, your newest novel, we got an arc of that and we loved it, and
So
we feel like drunk on like reading power.
We do.
When you get an arc, like it's like you're like, look at how cool I am.
I
got
do.
this
I feel
advanced
this.
reader
Yeah,
copy.
I feel the same way, even though as an author. And then if another author is like, "Can you beta read this for me?" I'm like, I'm so drunk on that power of like, I get to read this before anybody else.
That's what
it's fun.
I feel so
like,
special.
I'll be like, oh, I have an arc read, and
Like-
then my husband's like, what, you got it like a month early? I was like, yeah.
You're like, that's a big deal.
That's a big
bud.
deal in our world. Okay? Not everybody gets picked for this. It's very cool.
My husband's like, what's an arc?
I've had to explain it enough times that now he knows what it means.
Means we're cool, hun. It means we're cool.
We're very cool.
Okay, so when we first had you on, you were in the middle of moving from Greece to Hawaii. Oh, I'm so sorry for you.
Right? Like, it's cold as fuck. It's so cold and snowing.
It's literally like 10 degrees here.
And snowing.
But yeah, you were in a closet recording with us on your laptop.
Yeah, you were on like a family vacation. I think like you would send all of your family out like canoeing or something, and you were in a closet.
Yes, I was. We had just moved. We had just left Greece, the island of Crete, and we were in North Carolina. We met my in-laws there, and I was in my nephew's closet. It was like this giant closet in the Airbnb, and my 16-year-old nephew was sleeping in a blow-up mattress in it. And it was the only like really enclosed space for good acoustics. And yeah, they all went out on the boat and doing all that stuff. And I was like, I have this podcast, and I'll see you later. And
You need him in the closet.
yeah. Exactly. And then just like a week after that, then we moved to Hawaii, the island of Oahu, and that was wild. Like, just I'm so glad that is behind me. Like,
Just moving in general. I can't imagine.
whew, yeah.
Because your husband is
Yeah.
in the military.
He
how
is,
long
yeah.
was Hawaii for? Do you know?
So we'll be here another year and a half,
My God. That's
which is not that much time. I'm like, yeah, as you can see, like behind me, I don't have any pictures hung up. Like, it's just,
Yeah.
what is the point? And putting up some things, and then also, like, I don't know, just the walls it doesn't matter. Just like,
I
like,
think I would be the same way.
Yeah.
If I knew I was just
yeah.
gonna all up and do it again, I would buy us a couple picture stands. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not putting holes in walls or somewhere that then I'm gonna have to patch them in.
Yeah.
in 9 months.
For sure. Oh, yeah. So that's the point, is like to do that. And if you do those like command stickies,
Mhm.
it's so humid here. Well, it just falls off. Like they don't stick.
I
They
wouldn't
just
have ever
fall
thought
off.
of
I
that.
wouldn't have either. See, I wouldn't have.
Yeah, me neither. Until I started doing it, and I was like, oh, why is everything falling off the walls? So,
You were like, well,
it doesn't even matter.
we don't need artwork. Goodbye.
Exactly.
But are you loving island life? Like, how? Tell us about it.
I do love island life. So hopping from one island to another, I think it was a really good transition for us because, listen, Greece is a second world country. We could not flush toilet paper in our toilets. The internet was, I don't know, just never working, sometimes working, and Amazon doesn't exist over there. And it was really hard. I think coming to an American island was like a good transition back into American life,
Yeah.
because we're a little bit removed from all the mainland. We have stuff here. It still takes a while for Amazon to reach here, but we make it work. And the only thing, my big complaint is, if you've been seeing my stories, is the amount of roosters and
I
chickens
was just
that
gonna
are
say that. I was gonna
here.
say,
Is
is
it
that
the
chicken?
roosters? Tell us about the
They are ruining my life. If if anybody is familiar with me, they know that I am afraid of birds.
Yeah, I
And I have been since I was little. I had like a traumatic event that I actually don't remember, but family members like clocked that as the
read
time
that
that
shit.
I became afraid. Yeah, and I actually did hypnotherapy at 19 to help with this fear, this phobia. I mean, major phobia, like panic attacks.
Oh my God.
And it helped by like 85%. Whereas before, I would not walk around a lake because there would be ducks. If I was in my car, and there is a crow or a pigeon on the driver's side of the car, I would get out on the passenger side, like I crawl across because that bird is right there. That's how bad it was.
Yeah.
So it helped tremendously, the hypnotherapy at 19. However, we get here to Hawaii, and there are chickens and roosters in my neighborhood. They are outside all of the restaurants. They actually come into some of the restaurants. If it's like an
Ew.
indoor outdoor restaurant,
a hellfire.
they will walk
Yeah, that
over
doesn't
your
feel.
fucking feet. They walk over
Oh,
your feet
nope.
in the restaurants.
Ugh.
I know. So I'm getting worked up just thinking
I feel
about
like,
it.
so are they basically like pigeons in New York where like they don't care? Like they're like, no, 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 no. You move for us.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely way more pigeons here than there are chickens, and like the pigeons don't. Well, I would not want a pigeon to walk under a table, but like I don't have a problem with the pigeons as I'm walking by them. It's definitely the roosters are pretty big. The chickens are not that much bigger than a pigeon, to be honest, but they still freak me out. There will
Yeah,
be a pigeon and a chicken right next to each other, and I would gladly pick the pigeon. And like, it's really, really irrational, and I get that. But
It's
like,
valid.
yeah, but it's
Your
that.
fear
Yeah.
is valid.
yeah,
It,
exactly, exactly. So it's
they're like
ruining
memory.
some of my experiences, but
I've been to Hawaii in February too. In like Waikiki area, and I don't remember there being roosters and chickens, but maybe
yeah,
I was.
probably not so much in Waikiki. It's very touristy, so yeah, and there's the population down in Waikiki is like, so many people that it's very city life
They
over there. But we're over on like
over you.
the Jurassic Park side where it has like the beautiful green mountains and
That makes me think of
yeah.
Lost.
Yeah, they
I
filmed here too.
know. That's like always been somewhere I've wanted to go. All the places that they've filmed Lost.
They filmed
Yeah, yeah.
Hawaii 5-0 right at my parents
Mm-hmm.
Hawaii every year up until like 2 years ago, and they filmed Hawaii 5-0 like at their hotel in Hawaii and like really close to there. And I swear my dad watches it only to see if he can find himself.
All right.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
roosters and chickens aside, island life is
Overall, I love it here. Yes, I love it here. I can see the ocean right now from my window. Um, it's like my son met Barack Obama the other day on the golf course.
what?
Like,
Stop.
yes, yes, and I missed him. I like got in my car and I
Like, I'm
drove
coming,
there.
Brock.
I'm so glad my husband got a video, and like my husband
That's
shook
so
his hand,
Oh,
and then I was like, "Let me touch your hand. Did you wash it yet?" He's like, "I haven't washed my hand yet." I'm like, "Let me touch it."
I'd be
that's
like, "Where's
very
Michelle?
cool.
Is Michelle with you? Can I take her for coffee?"
Ah,
Like,
Oh my God.
I know they don't live too far away from where we live. It's pretty. That was really cool.
Can
so
you
cool.
imagine having coffee with Michelle Obama? Oh my God.
That would be
Woo,
amazing.
that's like goals. So I feel like before we discuss for the show, we're going to put a disclaimer out there for anybody listening.
Yeah,
Spoiler alert. You know, we're going to talk
Okay.
about stuff. So
yeah. This is your warning now. If you have not read,
pause us.
yeah, if you're not ready to read it, or you want to read it and then listen, or if you like spoilers,
Like me.
keep listening.
That's true.
Some people do like spoilers. I am a page spoiler, but not like a whole book spoiler. Like I'll jump down a page when I'm reading and like read the bottom and then go back up.
Yes, I do that too, but I hate that I do that.
I hate that I
can't
do it.
Stop myself.
I can't resist it.
Sometimes I actually cover the bottom of the page with my
You
hand.
don't.
So
I can't resist the impulse, whatever that is. It's probably a form of OCD.
I've been known a time or two or 10 to like skim the final page like a psycho.
No, I can't. But I like will read the bottom of the page and then go back up to the top and read it. And I'm like, what is the point of this? Like I'm going to read that in 30 seconds.
I do the same thing.
I cannot control it. So anyway, here's your warning. Spoiler alerts coming in hot.
Yes.
Yes. Because okay, so we loved For the Plot.
Yeah.
I liked this one better. I'm just going to say it. It's not.
I know. It's okay.
Not that, again, I love it.
Yeah, I loved it.
It's still one of those books I'm like, I'd want to read it again for the first time. But it's like, there was just something about this book. I think that, like, we both said that it's, it's dual point of view, but we felt like this was Ezra's book. Like, if that makes sense. Like,
yeah, and I love Ezra and Millie.
We love Millie.
Love.
It just,
I don't
Ezra's,
know.
like, whole personality and his mental health representation and everything that encompasses him. It just felt like he was like, he was the story.
I couldn't get enough of him.
I couldn't either. I love him.
I really couldn't.
I love hearing that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So tell us a brief overview of For the Show real quick before we get into it. For anybody listening who might not know, which is stupid if they don't.
Seriously.
But anyway.
I love you guys. Okay, well, I also really hate this question because I'm like, how do I explain this, like, 300 something page book
I
in
know.
3 sentences?
Yeah.
I should.
No, it's totally fine. But
You don't have, like, give it.
I need to get better about my elevator pitch, but it's fake marriage. Our FMC is Millie, and she is a actress, dancer, singer, performer. She has been dabbling in erotic voice narration and for a spicy audio app, which is introduced in For the Plot.
I want to be Millie.
And yeah, for sure.
After I saw that was the job, I was like, I wonder if I could do that.
I want to be her.
I feel like I could do that job. But anyway.
I love it. Yeah. And then, and so she's a traveling performer. So she performs like Broadway shows, and they go and they travel national tours. And then our MMC is Ezra, and he is 35. So he's like our, mid-30s main character. And he is a middle school teacher, and he is going through depression. Like, you see it on the page, and he takes antidepressants and he goes to therapy, and he finds out that he has a half brother that he's never met that lives in Hawaii, and his dad has taken custody over this 15-year-old boy, and his dad is a real asshole, a real misogynistic jerk, and is very much like telling Ezra that, oh, we're just the same. We're these bachelors. Look at you. You're 35 and still single. It's just going to be the three of us guys now. And he like used to kind of pimp out Ezra as a kid at bars with other women. And Ezra is so sick of being compared to his dad. But it's like, it's his dad still. So he's just like, has this attachment to him. Anyways, he wants to go meet this half-brother. The half-brother wants to meet him, and he lets it slip to his dad that he is married, because he's really just trying to shut his dad up about comparing the two of them. And then he's like, crap, I have to find a wife. Who am I going to find as a wife? And then his best buddy Cam, who we introduced in For the Plot, is like, hello, Millie's an actress. Like, you can take her. And so they go to Hawaii, and they have to pretend to be married. But it's a little bit different of your basic or your typical fake marriage because they quickly realize they don't actually have to continue being fake married at some point. They're like they have to make a decision. Are we going to continue this or are we not?
And
Which I liked that that was a little bit different.
I had never read one like that. Normally it was like, if it's the fake marriage, obviously like we love a happy ending and that's
Yeah.
how it is anyway. But it's like, oh, they either end up just like not telling people that it was fake or something like that. Like I liked that they were like, all right, we don't have to continue this charade, but we want
But he doesn't want her to leave. He still wants her there.
but we don't have to continue it, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. They sort of come to this crossroad and they're like, okay, we don't have to pretend for this to be a fake marriage anymore, but I still want you here with me doing this thing that I have to do, which is Ezra's going to take custody of this kid. And he wants Millie there to like support him. He's like, do you have to go back to the island? Like, you can stay with me. And she does, and she stays with him.
Yeah.
I know. This book like hit me so hard in the feels. So the way that you wrote, I feel like in Ezra's world with, depression and therapy, medication, all of that, you wrote it to where it made you feel like it was, this normal thing. And that's the thing though, is that it is, there are so many people that go through these things that I don't feel like it wasn't glorified or, different things like that. Like just the way that you touched on all of it made it just seem so natural. And I loved that because so many people go through this and like, you're not alone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this is real and here's how he's dealing with it. And it was just written so beautifully, I thought.
It was. The representation was good. And I've never read a book that had the male representation like that. It's always the female who's a damsel and, all this. And it's like, he's like, he finds her the therapist and he's like, you're going. And, that type of like knight in shining armor, the female is crumbling under these things and he saves her. But it was like, he was the one who needed the help and he did it. He was like, this is what needs to happen. I need to do it. And he took that initiative, but he talks about it and he makes it just like as normal as, I have a headache. I'm going to take a Tylenol.
Yeah.
He's like, oh no, they're antidepressants. Like it's, yes.
Wait,
yeah. Well, when Millie was like, is that Viagra?
Yeah.
Yes.
and I loved that she helped normalize it too. I mean, he was scared to share with her that he has depression and she just was like, okay, so you have depression, like, are you doing okay now? Like, take your meds, like, great. And he's shocked that she's not giving him a complex over it or not making him feel guilty or that it's abnormal. And she's just like, are you okay now? And he's like, yeah, I'm doing much better. And she's like, okay, cool, great. Like, and then, she checks in with him from time to time, like when some other life stuff comes up and they kind of have a moment where they have to do long distance things. And she's like, are you doing okay? And I thank you for validating that it felt really natural because there was so much of my mental health that was written into this. I mean, the things that Ezra talks about that his therapist shares, those were actual things that my therapist told me. I can't remember if we talked about it last time on the podcast, but I was hospitalized for postpartum depression and anxiety, like in a psychiatric hospital 14 years ago. And that was one of the scariest things in my entire life. And I had to, after I was hospitalized for that 1 week, then there was a month where I went to what I called therapy camp, which was Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. My mom would drop me off. I had an 8-week-old baby. My husband was in med school. Like, he took care of her when he could. Her, our friends took my friend's mom, my husband's cousin, like everybody took turns taking care of this newborn. And those are real things, like taken right out of my journals that I had to go back and open up these journals and look at what the therapist had told me. And I still live by those truths and those just the things that the therapist said to me. I take them to heart every day.
how was that for you going back into all of that to help with this book? Because that had to be.
Oh, I'm good at disassociation.
We're like, oh, disassociation, check.
Yeah, I do think like there are at times when for many, many, many years, I avoided looking back at
Yeah.
those journals. And at some point, I kind of took the pieces that I wanted from those journals and kind of like transferred them over into like a different type of journal. So I don't actually have to go back
Yeah.
and see all the nitty gritty details, but I just take those things. But they're so ingrained in me now that yeah, I didn't have to
That's
really go back into all
amazing
of
that you're
it.
on the other side of that, because that is a real, like, that is, I had suffered from postpartum anxiety and rage after my
Mm.
third. And that's when I had started medication and therapy and talk therapy and things like that. And that was, yeah, like, people don't realize how common all of these things are.
Everybody just is like, oh, the baby blues. It happens.
It's like, no.
No, that's not quite what that means. Like,
Yeah.
it was so swept off to the side or, under the rug or whatever for so long that now it's like, thankfully become more talked about and more
Yeah.
recognized. And that's like one of the like good sides of social media is there are so many people like talking about these things. So then somebody who's like had no idea, they're like, oh shit, that's what happened.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't just, crazy or whatever.
Yeah.
It was, it's a real thing.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that piece of yourself with us, because hopefully somebody that's listening to this can.
Yeah. Know that like it's real.
Oh yeah, I'm an open book about it anytime because I was 23. I was the first of my friends to have a baby. I had never even heard of postpartum depression, like anything like that, and my own mom, my mother-in-law, like no, they didn't experience that. Those were the people that I was turning and looking to, and yeah, it was my friend's dad who is a doctor, and he was like, I think she has postpartum depression. And we're like, what's that? And mainly it was me, it was anxiety, it ended up being mostly anxiety with just like panic attack after panic attack after panic attack until I was suicidal. And so, and he was like, yep, okay, take her to the emergency room and this is what's going to happen. And yeah, and then I immediately felt this huge sense of relief of like, oh, somebody's going to take care of me. Like I'm in a safe place. Like I'm just going to trust the process, which is like a huge mantra of mine. Just trust the process, and that's a very privileged thing to say. I realize that because we were able to get the healthcare. This was also 14 years ago too, and was able to get this and the care that I needed. And yeah.
To be able to have people around you to acknowledge that you needed help, and like that you were willing and able to acknowledge and go through that. That's a struggle in and of itself. So
I always say that like after I had like I was 23 when I had my oldest, and I don't think I was definitely, if I had any sort of like anxiety or anything, it was low. It was like very mild. But my husband will say stuff and I'll be like, I don't remember that. I don't remember that.
Yeah.
I don't remember that. And he's like,
yeah.
You don't? And I'm like, nope. He's like, listen, you were a mess. He's like, this was like, I'm like, no, it wasn't that bad. He's like,
we block some of that out, I think.
I think we block it out, but
yeah, I think it's our body's way of protecting us from a traumatic time.
Well, I'm like, no, but I was the same. Like, I had no idea what I was doing. I had support, but like not a ton of it, or anything. And I had to kind of figure out a lot on my own. And I think now that I do look back and I know so much more, I'm like, probably could have stood for some little bit more.
Yeah.
A little bit something there. But
well, in this book too. Okay. So you it's serious. There's serious things, but like with Millie, this just makes me think back on too with like her body dysmorphia and like those things, because those are big after you have a baby too. I was just thinking about that. That's what like how I pulled them together, because I was like wait, yeah. So Millie has her own her own things that she's going through. And like, how was that to write?
Uh, it was so healing, and I could probably talk about this to the end of the podcast, but when we're first introduced to Millie and for the plot, she's thin. She talks about like she's Pilates, NYC Pilates, skinny, right? You know, and what you would think of this like actor dancer in on Broadway. And as I was going to write the story, I was like, I don't want her to be this thin, just like another thin FMC, you know?
Mhm.
And I have body dysmorphia. I have disordered eating that I thankfully it's not so strong and so bad right now, but definitely going through adolescence into adulthood, and I wanted to capture that feeling of feeling so uncomfortable in your body, no matter what the change is. What, you know, for Millie, it's not pregnancy, but it's just she gained a lot of weight kind of rapidly,
Mhm.
and it got out of control. And one day she woke up and was like, I don't even recognize myself in this body anymore. And there are times even now, well, I'm medicated now, but before I was medicated, I if I was extra bloated wherever I was like in the cycle and my pants didn't fit. Like it wasn't like, oh, I hate this. This is so disgusting. And like, you know, you put on something else. It's like, I don't want to leave the house
Yeah.
because my entire day is ruined off of this one tiny experience and I feel disgusting. And like, there's two parts of me, the logical part and the illogical part. And logically, I'm like looking at myself from above and I'm like, this is so stupid. Like, just throw a dress on. Like, just leave the house. You're fine. And then the other part is like, no, I will now go into the cave that is
Yeah.
my bed, and I will not leave because I feel so. I want to claw out of my skin, and so I wanted to capture that feeling, and the she gets claustrophobic in clothes sometimes
Yeah.
where they're like too tight, and that's a real thing for me. Like I
Yeah.
panic. I have asked a friend to cut me out of an outfit I've been stuck in a dressing room before, and my friend's like, just take a deep breath. I'm like, no, you need to go get scissors
Like,
right
get it off
now.
of my
Like
body.
yeah, I don't know what that is. I panic.
I
And
know,
so
I know that feeling of it, like, and not necessarily because it's like I'm more like, oh my god, what am I gonna do? I can't get out of it.
Like, help!
Like that's
Call
me.
somebody
I'm
in.
like immediately sweaty when something doesn't like
Oh
fit
my
right
God.
because I'm like, what if I cannot get out of this?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's not the best.
Millie, you know, like the eating and gaining her weight wasn't that like a coping mechanism from the situation she
Yeah,
was in because
her.
it was a toxic environment that she was in?
Yeah, she was
Yeah.
really stressed. She wasn't sleeping well. She was trying to be like this perfect main lead in the show that she was doing, and the director was just a real asshole and was getting on her about gaining weight, and then it just spiraled. It was like she just like lost control about it, and then he pushed her out of the show. And so then she was like, I don't even recognize myself anymore. I don't know what to do with my life. I feel disgusting in my body. And in the last 2 days, have received voice messages from readers crying to me over voice message saying that they feel so seen
Mm-hmm.
by Millie. And somebody even brought my book to therapy with them, had this like aha moment with their therapist about their body dysmorphia. And I like turned to my husband and I'm like sobbing and I'm like, I wrote those words. Like, I can't believe that people are sending me crying voice messages.
It's I've always been like growing up, I was never the like I don't want to say like I'm gonna put in air quotes, you can't say the
Yeah.
fat kid.
Yeah.
But I was also like taller than everybody. I got boobs really
Yeah. More
early.
curvier than everyone.
I was bigger than all my friends. And by bigger, I mean like I was a size 6 or 8 or something
Yeah.
like that. But you know, all of my friends were like very tiny girls. And so I always like did consider myself the like the fat girl of the group. And then it took me a long time, and I still struggle with it, being like, one of my very good friends is like a very tiny human.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not, she's not because she's has an issue. That's how she's built. And it took me a long time to get to a point of feeling like it's not because of X, Y, or Z. It's like we're all built different. And I did feel like Millie, because some days there are days where I put clothes on and I'm like, what is wrong that like I can't be the like skinny size whatever, where sizing is so stupid, because I could be a size 8 in one store and a size 18 in another store.
Yeah, it's wild.
But it's just like, you know, the people who are calling you know that like I had those thoughts too, because seeing Millie overcome that was like, damn, I wish I could get to that point of confidence.
Yeah, I love how her story unfolded with becoming comfortable in her own skin.
Yes.
And just the strong FMC, like her representation was beautiful.
Yeah.
And inspirational
Oh,
for a lot of women. So
thank you. And I like too that, you know, sometimes we read in stories like the MMC like saves her and helps her cure whatever she's going through and whatever through a good dicking or something. And it's just like,
I mean, that's not gonna hurt.
It helps.
Exactly. We could try it out first and see if it works. But like I wrote in there like he loved her body for her on the days that she couldn't love it for herself. And that, I mean, my husband does that for me, where I'm just like, I don't like how my body feels right now. I don't like how I feel inside my body. And he's not like, that's ridiculous, you know, he's not gaslighting me about it. He's just like, well, I really love your body. And like, it's enough in that moment to kind of help me until I catch up, right? And so there are times where I'm like, yes, I'm loving my body. And then there are times, of course, you know, and I think it has to do with your cycle too, where you're just like, yeah, I feel like absolute garbage in this body and I want to rip it off right now. But my husband is there to be like, I'm just gonna remind you. So then when you catch up next week, like we'll be here together, loving your body together. Like, but I'll love it for you now since you can't love it for yourself.
That's
And I put that
exactly.
in the dedication too.
Yeah, my husband does that too. Like, I'll just be like, I just feel gross right now. And he'll be like, I see you and I understand that. And he's like, but I like it.
Right,
That's,
yeah, that's
you
my
know.
husband will be like, it's all right. Like, you know, gives me a little
you get a
pat.
little-
I'm like, thanks, hon. He's like, you know, we're
Yeah.
very lucky in that aspect.
Yeah.
That my husband, I'll say the same stuff to him, and I'll be like, you know, I hate my boobs. He's like, I love your boobs.
Yeah.
You know that.
Yeah.
But speaking of your husband, what you Dr. Book Daddy is?
I'm dead. I am dead.
Is that what you call him, Dr. Book Daddy?
Yeah.
I love him.
The story that you post, or the reel you posted last week or this week, whenever he picked you up from the airport, and he's like in the car, and then you jump into his arms. That was like,
You guys are so cute.
I probably was like creepy. I watched it a couple times. If you could see how many views one person, it would be me, Mars. She just watched it.
So
I just
funny.
thought it was so cute because, like, you said you had no idea he was filming, and like, you know, you were really anxious and everything like that, and then it was so cute.
You guys are so cute.
Really cute.
Yeah, he had the little two in the car because I took my daughter to California for a gymnastics meet. And man, I had like an anxiety attack going to the airport because I was like, I'm going to be on a different continent than my husband. And I was like, I don't know how to airport. What? Like, and I mean, I've traveled in Europe by myself, but I guess it was the first, we haven't been apart for a good while. I mean, he's been deployed before. We've done, you know, 7 months apart, all of these other things that he's done. But we hadn't been apart from each other for a good while. And I was really anxious. And I was fine once I was there because there's literally nobody else but me to be the parent. And we had a great time. And then, I didn't know he was filming and the kids were all in on it in the car and they were excited and it was cute. The only thing I was like, the windshield is so dirty.
I didn't notice. I can assure you.
Nobody else
I did
was
not
looking
notice.
Yeah, so I love that it wasn't set up at all, and it wasn't set up on my part.
I loved it.
And it was cute.
I loved it. Okay.
We like love our quotes and our things. So I think I messaged you. I saw her look at her iPad for a second, and I think I messaged you and was like, in the beginning and like the intro, I already like highlighted things that I loved like before.
See, humans are allowed to make mistakes, like in the Dear Arc Reader part,
right?
Like
yeah.
the rest of the people won't even see. It was the other people once they get their copies.
right.
The others. See, humans are allowed to make mistakes. Like I love that, and I loved. I have them up here. The Matilda quote at the beginning, because Matilda is one of my favorite movies, and
Me
growing
too.
up, mom called me Matilda. But I don't know why. I don't even know the reference to that at this point, but it was she always called me Matilda.
I love it. Oh my gosh.
I have so many highlighted, even just like random parts that really don't even pertain to the story. Like whenever I love Ezra's mom.
Oh my gosh. Because I love her.
And I always think,
Dawn, yeah.
So I lost my mom when I was a kid, but when I read this character, that's how I imagine my mom would be. If that like makes any
beautiful.
Like that was kind of like the whole vibe of her. Like I was like, man, that's like how in my mind, if I could like imagine my mom being alive now, like that's kind of how I picture her. But and like her attitude and everything, like she went gray in her 30s, but she never dieted. She has no interest in abiding to patriarch. We can do hard things. Words are hard. I have that highlighted too. Patriarchal pressures. I loved that because one, I really want to stop dyeing my hair. Only because I just get annoyed with it, but I don't know.
My sister-in-law, she went all gray
in
her 30s. Like she just let it. She looks beautiful.
I'm not fully gray, but I have a lot of it. And I loved that part. Like, why should I have to, if I want to color my hair, I should do it for me. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if I want to anymore.
Ooh. No, I really, I listened to a podcast once. Liz Gilbert was on We Can Do Hard Things with Glennon Doyle.
Oh.
And she shaved her head. She shaved her head. And they have this whole thing about like how much time or how much more women could like accomplish compared to like the male counterparts if they didn't do their nails, they didn't do their makeup, they didn't do their hair. Because think about it, when you go, well, I mean, I wouldn't have this experience, but like in a boardroom, right? Where you go into this, you think about this big meeting in like Manhattan or something, and the guy just like walks in with like maybe a little gel on the top of his head or something, and he's got a suit on and he like sits down. Well, the woman had like, she blow dried her hair, she curled it, she had to get her nails done at some point. Generally speaking, right? I'm sure some people don't, but then like putting on her makeup, how much time did she spend getting ready for that meeting? When like she probably could have spent it like preparing notes for the meeting or something. And I just kind of had this aha moment, you know, and which Liz Gilbert did too. And she shaved her head and she like never looked back. She's like, so easy. I like go jump in the ocean and then I go to dinner. Like I really should talk about this with my therapist at some point, but I have so much attachment to like my hair and just like, and I know this is common for a lot of women, but like, if my hair is done, I feel so much better. If my hair is not done, I mean, I could go a day or two with like a messy bun, but after like that third day, I'm like, I don't know, I'm just like not feeling mentally great. And so I'm like, yes, we should all shave our hair. Let's all just shave our hair. And I'm like, you go first. I don't want to go first, but.
So in my mind, when my kids are older and I have like myself back, if you know what I mean, like,
yeah,
you know,
I know. Yeah.
I have a 3-year-old. I have elementary age kids. Like my life is not necessarily my own. Whenever my life is my own, so to speak, again, I want to have like a short pixie haircut that goes all gray.
You would be so cute.
Like it's a whole thing. But right now I'm like, I can't let myself get to that place yet. I'm not there mentally. But like I've recently tried to like I don't like, and this is wild because I went to cosmetology school, so you'd think I'd really like this. But like, I hate doing my hair. I don't like to wear makeup. I'm on a very big journey right now. I felt very
I
close
love
to
that.
her in a weird way,
Mhm.
even though she has like, she's not a huge part of the story, but she's there enough that I was like, that is exactly how my own mother would be. Like,
Yeah,
before.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. And I think I wrote her as like, I hope I'm this mom when I'm like my kids are in their
That's
Right?
exactly
30s.
what I thought when I read it too. I was like, I want to be like that. I want my kids and I to have a relationship like
Yeah,
that.
same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I am with my mom.
You are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love your mom.
Hi, Mom. My mom listens to the podcast.
Oh,
I can see her
I love
parents'
that.
house from my house. So like my daughter stands on our porch and she yells like,
She'll be like,
"Hi, Pappy!"
Pappy's
to
on
her
the-
dad. Yeah, so it's they're very
No,
good people.
we have a good relationship. I taught sex education when I was in college to like inner city schools, and I had like a bag of like,
You can say dicks.
oh, I know. Wait, where did I think I was?
You were like confused as to where you were for a minute. This is a safe space. We can talk about. You can say dicks, prosthetics.
Yes, I had like a bag of tricks that I would take, to like teach different classes about like STDs or safe sex or like all of this other stuff. And so like we were just a very open household.
That's
With-
how my side.
Oh, I love that.
My
with,
mom's
like, all of
side
that
of the
stuff.
family is like that, and my husband's side is not.
My mom and dad were on like a road trip and they were driving to my uncle's and they were like, oh, let's listen to a podcast. And my dad like clicked on ours and my mom was like, but not that
this
one.
Yeah,
She's like, I don't think you're going to want to listen to that one.
I
But my mom did start
That's so
reading
funny.
for the plot. Cause she was like,
Aw.
after like she had listened to that
I love
episode.
your
So
mom.
Oh,
Anyway, I
thank you.
digress.
So yes, so we loved her.
Yeah.
The next one I have that I like LOL funny was, and it's how good of the thing is. Check out the cuck chair.
yes.
I was cracking up because at first I was like, I had to think about it. I was like, what does that mean?
And then you were like,
It took me a minute. I was laughing so hard at that part because they have like a whole conversation about it too.
Daddy.
Oh, the daddy, yeah. When she's like, did we get it? Did we figure it out?
Oh my God, did we find the one?
Did we find the one?
As soon
Yeah,
as
when
that was-
she's texting.
Daddy.
Yeah, listen, when writing the book, I knew that there were certain things that I wanted to include and I wanted to do. And I was like, I'm doing the daddy kink. Like, I want to write it so badly because, I mean, I love reading it, but then sometimes I read it and I'm like, oh, like, I don't really like how this was done. And like, no shade to, the author of that, but I just was like,
No,
I want to do it the way that I want to do it. And yeah, so they're like texting and he had called her honey. And it was that's kind of an ongoing thing from In for the Plot. He calls her honey in a very condescending way. And so then he calls her that and they're texting to arrange a meetup to get to know each other a little better and get their stories straight before they go to Hawaii. And so then she throws some nicknames back at him, like silly ones like Sugar Lips and Pumpkin or whatever. And he's like, no, no, no. And then she's like, Daddy. And then it just kind of, he ghosts her for a second.
Crickets.
I
She
loved
thinks
it.
that he's ghosted her. And then she realizes like, oh, maybe
no.
he's not responding because I picked the one.
That is it.
And so she teases him on it a lot. And then she realizes, oh, he actually does have a daddy kink.
I actually just finished a book and I forget who it was by, but it's called Don't Call Me Daddy. Because he loves it.
Is that Drake?
Maybe. I'd have to look.
I read that.
I was laughing because it's like the title is Don't Call Me Daddy, and I forget what my 11-year-old was talking about, but he said the phrase Don't Call Me Daddy.
And you were like,
and I was like, what the fuck is going on around
is it
here?
this one?
Yes.
Yeah, Dre Anthony.
Yeah.
Speaking of daddies, when there's
Speaking of daddies,
when there's a Harry Styles reference or like a One Direction and Harry reference, we were like, oh, that was for us. No, we know it wasn't, but because if I could show you after we're done recording, there's a cardboard cutout of Harry
He's
wearing
watching us.
in my house. Yeah, so we've
I
actually
love that.
taken him on vacation with us before. We did like my kids think it's so funny because I put him in the trunk and my husband was like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. And I was just like, no, we're doing a series called Harry by the Bay. And we had him all over the Bay House. Like, he was playing cornhole once. He was hanging in the hammock. Like, we had all of these things. Like, even my family members got in on it. And
See, like,
I love that type of whimsy. It's
oh,
so
it was
cute.
so fun.
yeah, I am not the like her and Shug are the Harry One Direction fans. And not that I dislike, but like they're next level. So now anytime I see a Harry reference, that was like highlighted.
It like popped up in the
One Direction,
and I was like, yes,
like,
100%, yes. I love all of this.
I was cracking up.
We can pretend I wrote it just for you.
Yay! Thanks.
I think I thought that. I was like, this has to be for them. Where's the we can do hard things is something I forget where
I
it
love
is, but
that.
that's like there is
Yeah,
I can do hard things is something she says that constantly, and I've started saying it. That anytime I like send like the muscle emoji, and I'm like, we can do hard things. That is a mantra around here, so I love
for sure.
Do you have a favorite like scene or quote from the book? I mean, I'm sure you have a bunch, but like, are there any that you're just like, I just fucking loved that?
What would it be? I don't know. I mean, like as far as like the scenes go, well, I had the most fun writing the scene where he is listening to her audio.
When she walks in.
Her audio recording. Yeah, she walks in on him listening to, so he knew that she was an erotic voice actor, and he had the app, and he didn't tell anybody he had the app, and he like spent a long time like trying to figure out who she was on the app because she uses like an alias, and so he would listen to a lot of them trying to figure out her voice, which one it was. And then, yeah, he thinks that she's out at the beach, and then he's listening to it and, doing things that you would do when you're listening to erotic stories. And yeah, and she catches him. And I just really loved that part where he catches her, and then he's like not gonna let her walk away. And he's like, you're gonna finish this. Like you said you were a damn good actress. Now show me. And I just loved that part. And it was one of like the very first scenes that I wrote. It's not sweet. It's not like a sweet scene.
No, we don't. I didn't
sentimental, but
no, it was.
I love that.
It was the good spice. That was good. This one, yes, take all my consent and fuck me up, daddy. Woo! Woo! That was a good one. Well done. I'm just like,
did I write that?
You're like, was that me?
You have an air tag for your butt plug.
Oh, yes. Okay, that probably is my favorite line of the whole
I was cracking up.
There's so many serious things about this book between the two main characters, but like
the comedic parts of it are so good.
It doesn't feel heavy to read.
It's not a heavy read, but it has heavy topics.
Yeah.
And like I think that what makes it, even though it's heavy, what makes it not feel heavy is that like how well it's written, how normal they make it all. Like even whenever like she has her period and he's like, your body's just doing body things. It's no big deal. Like, you're right.
A good one
too. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a big deal. Why is the world...
I feel like I have to credit that one to Dr. Book Daddy. I'm pretty sure he wrote that line. Because, well, he is a doctor, right? So, like, nothing phases him. I'm like, well, this is kind of gross. And he's like, why? No, it's not. And it's like, yeah, he's helped me out a lot with some of the stuff in there. I should credit him. Yeah, it's so true. It's just like your body is just doing body things. And thank you for recognizing that it is really just a normal, just all of them. It's just like this natural, normal thing. And Ezra's so like, even with the one bed situation, right? So I love a good one bed. And this is forced proximity, and And so the one bed's a little bit different because it's not like, surprise, there's one bed. It's like, oh, we know that there is going to be
Yeah.
one bed because we decided to go in on this together. And Millie's like, aren't you going to take the sofa? And he's like,
No.
I'm too old and too big. So like, if you want to go take it, go knock yourself out. But like, I'm also 35 and like, we can share a bed together.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, then I'm going to build this pillow wall. And he keeps calling it like a pillow dam. And he's like annoyed by it, but just like appeases her.
What made you decide that he would have piercings?
Because we love that. Just so
Oh!
you know.
Yeah, I don't know what you guys are cracking up. I
We're like too into. We're
We're
like,
like those grumpy old guys from the Muppets in the balcony. Like, oh,
That's a good explanation. Good
that's who
description.
we are.
Yeah. No, I mean, listen, like the book girlies go feral for it, so that helps.
It's us.
But it also
it's
is
us.
like
Yeah, it's us. We're the feral girl.
yeah. But because there's this moment of like in the beginning when some stuff goes down and Ezra gets like screwed over by a woman again. He keeps getting just like screwed over by these women, and he just so desperately wants to be like a husband
No.
and a father and this family man, and your heart breaks for him, and it kind of catapults him into another depressive episode, and and so he shaves his beard, he cuts his hair, and he gets a dick piercing. He gets a Jacob's ladder because it just was this
Not just
marking of
not
like
just any piercing.
He went for it.
yeah, he went for it. It was sort of just like this moment, this marker of like before and after, and he is like ready to move on and live in the after, and thankfully his hair and his beard grow back because we love that. But yeah, there's like a line in there or something. Millie is saying it like some people go through when they have a crisis, they get like a motorcycle and some get Jacob's ladder.
I love that. I love it.
I did like that part. I do want to talk, and this is like one of the more like heavier parts, but Kane, Ezra's little brother, hey, he loses his mom, and I really like felt that with him whenever he was like, mad about it. He was angry. He's like, it was a mistake, why did she have to die? And in the epilogue, he says, I hate that she's gone, but if she weren't, then I might never have met you. And it took me a very long time to get past that anger part of it and feel that way because I always thought that. I was like, why would this situation happen to me? Why would I be in this, not grow up without my mom and everything like that? But now I'm like, if my mom was alive, my life would be completely different. I would not be sitting right here. I might not have my 3 kids. I might not have my husband. I probably wouldn't. My life probably would have gone a completely different way. And I wouldn't change it now. Like like now, I'm like, I wouldn't want to not have my kids if I could reverse it. How could you ever pick over your children? So but I really felt that with him that like, it's such to wrap your head around that concept of losing a parent like that. But then you're like, oh man, but if I hadn't, none of these other things would have happened. So
yeah, it's such a conflicting feeling too, because it's like you don't want one over the other. You want both of them, but both of them cannot happen in the same lifetime, and
Yeah.
that's a harsh reality.
I very much
forks in the road.
Sympathized with Kane.
I loved Kane's character.
I did too.
I
like
did.
it when he called matzo balls squishy
Testicles.
And you know what I love? I loved your representation for Jewish people in this because you don't find that a lot. I
brought up really whenever somebody has like is Jewish or something like that. So yeah, I liked that.
I liked the snippets in it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was like it's not a Jewish book, right? Like I mean, I could write a book like that, but it was just like what you were saying with like the men's mental health. It was just like this naturally woven thing, and like they are Jewish, but they're like kind of, I say cherry picking Jews, right? It's like it's how I grew up. Like, you're supposed to, not eat pork, but like my dad would get like baby back ribs when we would go out, and you're like, like, hey, you're not really supposed to do that. And he's, but he would do it anyways, you know. It's just like you
Yeah.
kind of picked and choose things in your religion. And I think a lot of people can relate to that. And it was just kind of part of what they did. And like, I liked writing the fact that Kane kind of got something a little bit wrong about some of the terminology, and they just like corrected him, and he was like, oh, sorry, and then just like moved
Yeah.
on, and it just was very natural.
Yeah, again, yeah, it was. It was
It
all
was.
just very naturally brought in, and it wasn't, and it gave you some glimpses and facts. And I actually love matzo ball soup.
I do too.
My sister-in-law
But
always
that
makes
comparison
it.
does feel accurate.
I'm concerned now when next time she makes me some of it, I'm gonna be like, this is what I'm gonna think of now.
Oops.
I'm like, damn it, Katie, this delicious soup brewing.
Testicle soup.
I'm gonna eat my testicle soup now.
And now that's what this episode's
And
name is
that's a
gonna
wrap.
be. No.
No.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, we overall
yeah.
we love it.
I think I text you crying at the end of it
Yeah.
because
just,
of whenever. Yeah, I don't want to give away like all spoilers, but
it takes a lot for me to like cry in a book, because despite being a known crier, it's whenever like when I'm reading something, it doesn't always hit me like that hard when I read it, and this one got to me, but in a good way.
I laughed, I cried.
Yeah, as cliche
I
as it
laughed,
sounds,
yeah.
we laughed, we cried, we felt spicy.
Read it, everybody, read it. It's so good.
It is so good.
I love that. Thank you. It's validating to hear because, you know, as a writer, as an author, it's like I write the story and I'm like, this is how I want it to land.
Mm.
And then you just don't know if it's
Yeah.
going to land that way. And I have, like, for the plot, I wrote purely for entertainment, for myself, always wanted to write a book, had the story that wouldn't shut up. It's so entertaining and just like fun. The book that you just want to read on the beach and get lost in a spicy, fun
Yeah.
story. And then for the show is like much more healing, for me personally. Like even just Millie's bisexuality, being like bi, married to a guy, and feeling like you're, you know, if you choose one gender, you're giving up, you know, this other option, like struggling with
Yeah.
that. And so I loved writing that, and to hear reviews and ARC readers come back and say exactly, like, mirror my feelings about it, and that is so validating. And I'm like, I can't believe it.
Okay, so before we give everything away, though, I do have to ask. There were Easter eggs in this one for the next book, I'm assuming.
It's going to be
Brother and Cam's sister. Is that right? Am I right?
Yep. Yeah. So Asher and Claire. So single dad, and then not a nanny. Single dad and doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is takes place like in upstate New York at Asher's summer camp.
Are you gonna have
like
to
this
move to
retreat
upstate
center?
New York for a minute?
I
Is that your
know,
next
right?
spot?
It's like, and well, my dad was from New York. Like we've got family there. I'm like, okay, I have been there, but yeah, it's kind of like he runs like a Dirty Dancing type family summer camp, and then during the year, it's like used as a retreat center.
You had her at Dirty Dancing.
my like dream in life is to like do the ending dance sequence, and like I want to be baby.
Well, I'm gonna need to get Pimp to do this for your birthday. Her husband, we're just gonna
That's what we
recreate
call
this.
him. He would die and drop me, so I might need your husband to do it.
my husband goes to the gym a lot, and he's very
buff.
Yeah, he's very.
Anyway, I'm sorry.
You can
I just
loan
got
him out.
really excited about that. But
Anyway, so you're writing them, and I thought I heard you say that there was also going to be a fourth, or did I make that up?
Yeah, so it was originally supposed to be just like 3 books. And then when I was writing for the show, my alphas, my betas, and even my editors were like, you know whose story you have to write, right? Like we have to have Kane and his story.
I knew it. I was
yes.
Because I accidentally set it up. I didn't even mean to do it. I just kind of accidentally set it up when he gets on the airplane, and it just the
With the
characters were talking
surfer.
to me. Yeah, the characters were talking to
Dead.
me, and I just was like, okay, I guess I'm doing a fourth book, which is great for my brain who likes to have like even numbers. And so, because there was always a part of me that was like, oh, 3 books, it's an odd number. And so now, yeah, there's going to
Problem
be a fourth
solved.
book.
Oh my, I
Exactly.
didn't even
Wrap it
put
up with a bow.
this together. So now you're going to have us on the edge of our seats for the next 2 books.
No pressure.
That's, yeah.
I'm excited.
You're wonderful.
You
Thank
are
you for
wonderful.
sharing your arc with us. Thank you
Oh,
for
you're
being on the
welcome.
podcast again. And
Again, keyword.
yeah, we love having you. And if anybody has not read this book yet, read both for the plot and for the show. You don't, I mean, do you consider them interconnected standalones?
I do, yeah. So they can be read on their own. I am somebody who never reads interconnected standalones in order, like rarely. I usually pick the one that the trope just calls to me, and if I like that book, then I'll go back and like read the rest in order.
She
And that's how they're supposed to be.
she
Like you're supposed to
side-eyed
be
me.
able to read them on their own.
I can't. I'm
She can't do that.
You do.
I was like, oh, that's like hurting her inside.
I was like
I can
paying.
do that. Like,
If there's like a mention of a character from like a past, I'm like, I missed their whole story.
I know nothing about
I need
this
to go
person.
back. Like, I can't. I have to.
I do agree that the experience is better if you start from the beginning
Yeah.
and
That's
go all
how
the
I
way
just
through.
put it.
And
So
like,
if I recommend a series to somebody,
yeah,
I say like you don't have to read them in order. However, it makes it better if you do.
Yeah. But yeah,
right.
okay,
I
good.
agree.
The listener.
And
Yeah.
yeah, so and for the plot is now in duet narration. Alexis Page and JF Harding narrate it,
Oh
and
my
it's
gosh, JF is.
chef's kiss, so good. Yeah, it's
No.
so good. I mean, if you want to hear him get pegged in the bonus spicy
I
scene,
mean,
go
of
Always.
course
to
I do.
Of course we do.
Is that even a question?
Be serious.
So actually for the show kind of takes place right where for the plot ends, and then this third book actually kind of overlaps a little bit with the ending of, or with the last kind of year of for the show. I like to have like little time hops happening in the book, but
Which I love. I remember
yeah.
liking that with for the plot.
Yeah, I did too. I like because it was unexpected,
Yeah.
but like it was good.
We're just here to pump your tires, Katie. This is.
I love it.
We're
All
both
right,
like,
the next
I
one.
love this, I love that, I love this. Oh, I love that more.
You guys have like given me a complex.
All right. Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
We'll have to
You're
do this
welcome.
again.
This was so much fun.
It was.
Anytime.
Now I feel like you have to be back for the third.
Oh, for sure.
Okay. It's a
there's
tradition.
just-
Yeah, it's
just-
tradition
It's
now.
tradition.
Exactly. and you guys are grandfathered in for the arc.
Yes.
So.
Oh my god.
All right.
It's really the little. It's not little. It is a big thing.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
It's important. Katie, what are your socials if anybody wants to follow you on Instagram?
Yeah. So I'm most active on Instagram, Katie Van Brunt author. And the best way to keep in touch and to know what's going on is to sign up for my newsletter, which you can find at katievanbrunt.com. I mean, my website has all of everything anyway. I'm always so scared that we're just gonna like lose social media, or I'm just gonna be like locked out of my account.
It's like
I mean, this happens.
The Wild
I've
West
heard
out there.
horror stories. Yeah. So definitely sign up for the newsletter, because that would be a way if, like, God forbid, we ever like lost touch in social media. But yeah, and then I have a reader group on Facebook, and I'm trying to be better about being active on that. But really, Instagram is kind of my jam. I mean, I am an elder millennial after all, so
Same.
Same,
It's fine.
same,
We
same,
need you
same.
to just you
Yeah.
just focus on your writing. Don't you worry about the TikTok.
Don't you worry about the TikToks, okay? I said something so old the other day, or like my son was trying to tell me something, and he was like, "Mom, you just have to click here," and I was like, "Oh my god, it's happening!"
Oh, I
Because my
know.
son's like, we use Canva in school,
That's what,
Mom.
yeah, I like had it on my iPad.
Yeah, they do
And
now.
my middle son, who's 9, he was like, Mom, do you need any help with that? And I was like, first of all, you can't help me with this, okay? This is not for your eyes. And I mean, it was fine. And secondly, no, go away. I'll figure it out. So anyway, Katie, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. I love you guys.
We
Yeah,
love
we
you.
love you.
It was fun to talk.
Everybody go read for the show.
Oh, wow. That was unexpected. Normally, I'm the one who sings. To all of our loyal listeners, Shug isn't here because her wheels fell off.
Yeah, her wheels fell off. It's fine. She'll be
Aw.
okay. She also did not read the book, so she would have probably just laughed at us the whole
She
time.
would have, but that's why she's not here.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Follow us on at Kinks Out Podcast.
Bye.
Love you guys. Bye.